Hello, good morning, at least for me, right here in Portugal. Right, about 30 minutes ago, 1 hour, I got up, Saturday morning, not working, so I can take it a bit easier. So instead of getting up at my usually 7 in the morning, got up at 9. And 9, sorry, 8:30. And I got up, went downstairs, had my bleeding cornflakes on a effing diet because I need to lose serious weight and build up muscle for my health. Went downstairs, fed the cat, talked with the family, and made myself a nice bowl of cornflakes and did something I don't that often do, which was to watch the news on the TV. Actually, watching the news. I usually just do it online. I have access. Let's call it like this. I have on my PC, the all the Portuguese news outlets, also a couple of Spanish, French, German, and other places. Let's just put it this way. Anyway, and they were talking about, and this, if you don't know this, the reporting here is very unbiased. Okay, they are very dull, you would say, but it's just the way that we like it because we have a strong law banning misinformation, banning a lot of shit that is common practice in, for example, the United States. And they were talking about the meeting, they were showing it. First, what I saw was a subserving old man towards another subservient old man. I saw two old men. I saw Putin, clearly the alpha male, let's call it like this. Some guys like all of that crap of talking about alpha and omega and whatever the fuck you want to talk about, all to be a bunch of big little bitches. And he was uh, he was clearly dominating the scene, even being a smaller frame guy, because Putin is a smaller frame guy, and Trump is not as tall as he wants to look like, but he is taller, of course. And then I saw that behavior. To be blunt, Trump was acting like a little puppy that has just seen his master come home. But that is for history to judge, not for me, and I don't want to offend people. But again, this is just my opinion, my view about it. Not I'm not I'm not going to be biased and try to have a unclear opinion on things and not say what I say. Okay, I don't make a routine, comedy routine, whatever about this, because you could make a comedy routine about this. But then, blah, 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 and blah, 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 and nothing comes out of it, of course. Basically, Putin just repeated his narrative, presented his false facts, talked about NATO again, showed off his leverage on the world, say, look, here you see, the American president is talking to me. But he Putin also does not understand that we no longer consider that relevant. Him talking with the American president is absolutely irrelevant because the American president is weak. The current American president is weak. I will repeat it again. He is weak. He is making the United States look weak, even with that display with the jets at the beginning. When Putin was getting when they were going around the red carpet to the meeting, and the planes pass them by. Typical neo-fascist Stalinist display of power, a vulgar display of power, whatever. And now I'm going to phone NATO. I'm going to phone whoever I want to phone, and blah 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 blah, and it is so forth. And as we all were saying, Jack shit came out of this, and Jack left town. I expect nothing from this. If something comes out of it, well, good. But whatever happens, oh look, I will tell you this here, just between us. Even if this war finishes tomorrow and Putin gets whatever he wants, or at least a part of whatever he wants, this is just a prelude for a future war. Okay? A future war where Europe will, this time, it will be Europe to intervene in Russia. Okay? Because you see, while Mr. Trump and even Mr. Putin, they are just thinking about the moment, Trump is thinking about how to divert the attentions from the problems that he's having back home, with his support crashing down behind him because he has not done absolutely anything to improve the life of American citizens. In fact, he has made it much worse. He is destroying farming. He is giving the land that the farmers are losing to big companies that are buying it up and maybe selling it to foreign investors. Okay, typical. He's destroying manufacture because he has a manufacturer that depends pardon, on goods that are exported to the United States. Some of those goods, some of those components, and even manpower, they you do not have them in the United States, so you absolutely have to import them. You cannot produce them inside of your country. It's simple as this. Look at my video about that quick one. I don't know if I already posted it. If I didn't post it, it's going to come out in the next days, about the farmer that could not procure, let's call it like this, manpower to pick his crops, and he tried with locals, and most of them did not make the cut. They were unable to picking up tomato. Most of them were unable to do it, and the ones that stayed had a very low production here. Let's call it like this. While a Mexican picker would pick up everything, they barely made it. Okay, but I talk about that in the other video. Here we are talking about this meeting. Now, what you can take from this so-called meeting is this: two weak puppets that are losing their importance in the world very quickly. One of them can recover that importance, the United States. Yes, of course, it can recover it. It cannot recover it to the position in which it was before, but it can recover some of its worth. But Russia is dead, literally dead, physically dead. Okay, according to the new statistics, Russia that currently has 140 million people living in it, or had before the war, and that is the biggest or the widest, let's call this country in the world, is going to have barely 80 million inhabitants by the end of this century. So it's technically dead. Okay, what this means is that, for example, China will occupy the lands that the Russian Empire occupied from it, the northern part of Manchuria, and it would probably disintegrate. Probably, because you cannot make such an assessment with such a certainty on factors in other things that exist that are in the future. We don't know what will happen in the future, but technically, strategically, it's going to be that. Okay, and Western Europe, sorry, Western Russia, sooner or later, will get integrated into the wider EU. It's as simple as this. Okay, it will happen. It will happen. It's an historic consequence. It has been happening forever. Will it be this EU? I don't know. But I have a feeling that all of these wars, all of this preconditioning, all of this needed rearmament will create an EU that a lot of other actors will not love. Because you see, European countries divided conquered the world. European countries united in one single country. You get my drift? And this is what, for example, Putin and Trump fear. They fear a united Europe. And they are so vain. They are so limited in their vision of the world that they, unlike China, that has seen it, don't understand that what they are doing is simply pressuring Europe into getting more and more united with all our differences and to create a bloc that is very rich, has a lot of population, even also with our population deficit, 450 million people, and that is going to simply lay waste to the markets in the United States. Okay, Trump wants more investment. Well, you'll get more investment because I'm very look. I talked about this in another video. I am very certain that there are a lot of investors in the EU, rubbing their little hands with the carte blanche that Mr. Trump has given European money to invest in Europe, and they will invest. They will buy out everything. Well, maybe that's for the best. Maybe it will benefit at least. Maybe it will benefit the American citizen that at least will have a job, will have something. But investment unchecked, because investment is checked here. But investment unchecked in the United States, in a country without healthcare, in a country without social security, without absolutely nothing. Because I know what you're going to tell me. Oh yes, we have healthcare. Oh yes, we have social security and all of that. But I will tell you this: technically, according to European standards, no, you don't. Don't have universal healthcare. You don't have universal social care. Your president is kicking the homeless out of Washington. He's he's kicking your own citizens that for varied reasons, for economical reasons, for health reasons, for addiction, for simply not having enough to live on, are on the streets. And your president is saying, and then I hear the rhetoric and the commentaries of certain people that say, oh, he is going to take them to a camp and they are going to be all right and all that. Okay, you know what happened in camps in the past, and what can happen today just as it happened in the past. You don't know? Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot that your education system is also flawed. Look, when someone begins to, instead of addressing a problem, in this case homeless people, instead of addressing a problem directly, see what are the causes behind it and try to solve it in a humane way, in a normal way, like for example, uh, making treatment against drug dependency mandatory. For example, this is an example of working with companies to find jobs for people, of taking care of people, for example, giving a place to stay for people that are struggling economically. For example, taking care of people that are mentally ill and that are wandering the streets. Instead of doing that, which is what other countries do, and that actually works, instead of doing that, no, let's remove the problem from no. If people don't see it, they don't worry about it. You know, remember what they did to the Jews? First, first Hitler came into power and he put all the riffraff, or no, all the homeless, the jobless, all of those people, took them and he put them in camps working. And then they were quickly integrated into the party system or were terminated, physically eliminated. Okay, this was the first thing he did. After that, he came for the gays. He came for the religions. In this case, it's still the Christian religions that were not in pair with the interests of the party, and he took them out, and with them the communists too, or everyone that disagreed with him, or everyone that he and his party considered to be unwanted. After that, he started with the Jews. First, he destroyed their ability to make a living, of having a business of work. And after that, he said he was going to relocate them somewhere in the east. And then he relocated them. He relocated them into the death camps, alongside the gypsies, alongside everyone that he didn't like. So you see, these things don't start. Look, if these things happen in the United States, it's not going to be something that happens overnight. It's a slow process. They make you get used to it. They make you, for example, to you imagine this. You have a favorite diner, I will not know, in the corner shop where you like to go and get your food. And the owner is a Mexican guy. First, the Mexican guy disappears for whatever reason. Then you like to go to a favorite bookshop. And the owner of the bookshop, it's that guy that is always very active in society, and calling out against injustice and all that. And suddenly that person is gone. Okay. And one day you wake up and all you can do is do whatever you have to do. For example, go to your job and keep absolutely quiet. This is how life under a dictatorship, it's not a movie event. Life under a dictatorship is to be silenced. You can't complain. You don't have any ideas. You do whatever someone tells you to do. Look, during the dictatorship in Portugal, and I have spoken often with this with my parents, my mom that's still with me. It wasn't the case of people not being free to go here and go there. It was the case of people doing exactly what was told, having no free will. The state dictated what you could read, the state dictated what you could see in the movies or whatever, and you were allowed a degree of freedom that was this. You had a social security and a healthcare system behind you to help you, to aid you. Free healthcare has always been here as a social care also, and you could have a job. You could save up money. You could even open a business if the business was not offensive to the state or against the interests of an element in the state. Mm. You could not compete with anyone that was inside the apparatus of the state. But my parents started their business in the old regime. they had no issues. Okay? They were able to save enough money. They were able to open up their business, and that's not the issue. But if you were, for example, sitting in a cafe and you start talking shit about the government, sometimes you disappeared. And when you were lucky enough to reappear, you were completely broken. They would break you completely, mentally. I know a lot of old-time communists like to talk about the oppression of the regime and what they did. Oh, they killed this, they killed that. But in fact, very little people were killed. Some of them were sent to Africa. Some of them was sent to a veritable, almost death camp in the islands of Cape Verde. That was under Portuguese rule. That was called Terrafal. Okay, a lot of that happened, and a lot of people had accidents. But mostly, what the state did was to break people. This is why whenever people talk about Portuguese fascism, I tell them that the type of fascism that existed here, still exists, there's still a couple of them around, was the most terrifying of it all. Because they did not, let me tell you like this, they did not oppress you with a slap, okay? They oppressed you with words, with reducing you to nothing. And when I look at going back to the theme of the video, as always, I have drifted away. No worries. This one wasn't even planned. And I'm with my dark glasses because my eyes are going off on me. Let's just say it like this, okay? It's not to look bad or or whatever. It's because I really need to be wearing them because of the lighting here to make the video. But when I look at Mr. Putin and when I look at Mr. Trump, I see those type of people. And Putin, he does kill people. As for Trump, he uses the words. But basically, it's the same. A way of controlling. So, what can we take out of this nice meeting? Well, there will be a lot of nice words. There will be a lot of shit. But in the end, I expect nothing of it. My only hope is that Ukraine is able to be strong enough to continue to fight and that the more bodies are put into the fight. There are already a lot of volunteers. If I could, I would volunteer too. Unfortunately, I can't. But I would volunteer too. And I hope that we are able to get rid of both Putin and Trump. This is the only thing I want. I want to. I want to happen. Not physically remove. Okay, I'm not that kind of person. Killing someone solves nothing. The problem remains. Violence leads to nothing. But well, whatever. Uh, have yourselves a great Saturday. I hope you were patient enough to listen to me, and I hope to catch you all in my next video. Goodbye.